that now. Alrighty, I might just get started. So, alrighty, thanks everyone for firstly coming along and applying to be part of our tutoring program here at school. For those who don't know, the senior half of it was only started last year. So up until last year, only year 7, 8 and 9 students could do tutoring, and now anyone from year 7 to 12 can have tutoring. And that's only because you guys all put your hand up to be a part of it. Without you, we would have no tutoring program. So thank you very much. Alrighty, just want to start with an acknowledgement to country. So we acknowledge and pay our respects to the traditional custodians, past and present, of this land at Whitefriars College, the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We also acknowledge all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait families in our community and acknowledge their physical and spiritual connections to the land and everything that we are yet to learn from them, from all of the knowledge that they have gained over the years. I wanted to start with this prayer for teachers as well. So, Lord, bless the teachers, who is you guys now, who give their heart to teaching. Thank you for the special gift that you have given them and for giving them a spirit of grace and compassion. May they have strength and endurance to perform their many tasks, and may they know and feel the deep gratitude of those whom they teach and their parents as well. Our Lady of Mount Carmel, pray for us. Holy Prophet Elijah, pray for us. Amen. Beautiful. So those who have been tutoring for a little while now with us, this is a very similar presentation to what I used last year. However, there are some significant changes to the running of the program that's really important for you guys to be aware of. So I'm just going to move on to the first slide really. So the purpose for new people, and as a refresher, the purpose of the program for the tutees is the students, so to improve their understanding of one or more subjects that they need a little bit of extra assistance with, to improve their results, to gain more confidence in themselves and in their studies. That's a huge one. And often when people are more confident, they're going to be performing better anyway. Often our younger students and some of our older students are also in need of organisation and time management skills, and you guys are experts at that usually. So that's a huge way that you can help them across the board in their studies by developing those habits in them. Also to learn how to study and learn effectively, so not just opening up a textbook to read as a form of study, and really diversifying the tools that they're using, particularly as they're progressing through the senior years. You guys can help a lot with developing their study habits and finding what's going to work best for them, and to develop a meaningful connection with another current or past Friars student. If anyone has any questions along the way as well, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or type your question in the chat as well. You're always more than welcome to do that. Alrighty, for you guys, for the tutors, so the purpose, give back to the Whitefriars community, continue the spirit of service that we have hopefully instilled in you guys during your time here, to undertake valuable and meaningful paid work. So we do want you guys to be paid well, and hopefully you'll see that that's being reflected again this year on the senior level. To develop your own set of skills that can be transferable to other jobs, and to make a difference in the lives of the students that you tutor. Be able to put relevant work experience on your resume when you're going for other jobs. Hopefully some of you have already got jobs or gone for jobs. This is great work experience that will really set you apart from other people who are maybe going for the same job as you in the future. So expectations is really important, and again, it's shifted a little bit this year. Most of it's the same. So you are expected, as always, to keep the session running for 1 hour. The start time is flexible, you know, between the end of school and 3:30. roughly, if you start at 3:15, you have to finish at 4:15. Even if your student brings one worksheet and you finish it in 20 minutes, it's your responsibility to fill the rest of that session with meaningful activities, whether that is helping them write, a study timetable, or look ahead, maybe what they're about to start doing, maybe go back and look at some old assessments, where could they have got better. It's up to you to figure out what you're going to do for that hour and make it worthwhile. You're expected to be on time, be professional. This is a job that you're being paid for. You're expected to give your student your full attention, or students, I'll explain that later on, your full attention, and come to the session with a plan. Obviously, the first couple of sessions, or maybe just the first session, it's really about meeting them and finding out where they're at. And we'll talk a bit more about the first session in a minute. It's also really important that you keep a written record of every session that you conduct. Okay, really important that that's on you. You're also expected to make contact with the student the morning of your session to remind them it's on, or maybe the night before. It's up to you what works best, but make sure you remind them within 24 hours. Make contact with the parents via email to give them updates periodically. It doesn't have to be after every session, but at least twice a term would be nice. If I were a parent who was having my son tutored, it would be good to have that contact from you guys a couple of times a term. And also to make contact with the student's teacher. So if you're tutoring someone for maths and their maths teacher is Miss Riddle, it'd be great for you to make contact with them initially when you first pair up, to let the teacher know that you've got them for tutoring, and also if anything else crops up, just to get that line of communication going. You're also expected to communicate with me to notify if you are tutoring a new person, and to update your availability throughout the year. So classic people will start tutoring on 1 day a week and then find out later in the year, maybe they've got another job and they have to stop, or maybe they have rehearsals for something on a Tuesday night and they can't work out another night that'll work with the same family, so they have to stop tutoring. Or maybe you're just finding that your overall workload is getting too much and you don't want to do it anymore. All of that is completely fine. You just need to communicate with me and the families as early as you know, as soon as you know the situation. And we just ask that you give them at least 2 weeks continuing to tutor. So you let them know that you're going to have to stop, but at least do the next 2 weeks. And then that will hopefully give them time to find a new person. Any questions so far? Cool. All righty, getting off on the right foot. This is just about the first session. Again, for people who have tutored before, hopefully you're all over this. But for our new people, it's hopefully a nice, sorry, just letting someone in. Hopefully it's a nice little explanation and make you feel confident about your first session with a new person. So begin by introducing yourself, try and make them feel comfortable. Obviously the student's going to be younger than you, regardless of what year level you're in. They're always going to be younger than you. So it's pretty daunting. Some of them can feel self-conscious about having tutoring. Maybe they've never done it before, they don't know what it's about. So job number 1 is to make them feel comfortable with you and look forward to coming to sessions with you. Find something you have in common with them is a good way to help make them feel comfortable. So ask about their sports or hobbies or anything like that, what movies they like, what games they like playing, etc. Ask what they hope to get out of the tutoring program or why they're doing it. Maybe their parents are making them do it and they don't want to. That's fine, as long as you're finding out where they're at. If you know that they're really not they're coming into this not looking forward to it, at least if they're a bit grumpy, you know it's not you, it's the situation. And if they are really keen and if they're hoping to get specific things out of it, it's great for you to know that up front, because you can address those things straight away. Also, the first session, as mentioned on the previous slide, email their subject teacher and also their pastoral care teacher is helpful, just to let them know that you're tutoring them and you're part of that student support network now. Tell them your expectations for the sessions, like a teacher would at the start of the year in a class. You need to set the ground rules. It's your show. They're coming along. So you tell them what you want them to bring, pen, textbook, workbook, homework. You tell them what you want them to bring. For you, I'm setting the rules for you guys. Definitely no phones. You shouldn't be texting or TikToking or whatever in your session. And it's okay for you to tell them that as well. Like, hey, man, I'm here for an hour. I'm giving you my time. You need to be present for this hour as well, so your phone stays in your bag. Unless there's a reason, an educational reason for them to have it out, obviously. All right, what to do in a session? A good one to start off with is, do you have any homework this week? Let's get started on it. Help them with their homework. If there's no current homework, what assessments do you have coming up? And this is a little bit different, I guess, with the VCEs, kind of it's more big picture, but this still applies. What assessments do you have coming up? How can we prepare you for those better? Doing lots of practice questions with them, particularly for VCE. Study skills, organizational skills, as I mentioned earlier, how to prioritize. People aren't very good at prioritizing. Some people aren't very good at prioritizing. My mother is one of them. So that's a skill that can be learnt when you have the right help. At the end of the session, help them set a goal to achieve between today's session and your next session. It just helps with that continuity. And if you're writing down your sessions as a logbook to keep track of them, it's probably a good idea to write down the goal that they set so that next week you've all got it written down and you can't be like, oh, what goal did we make again? So an example of a goal could be something like, I don't know, make sure that you do 10 minutes of a particular subject each night this week, or make sure that you talk to your teacher and ask them about this question that we had trouble with, or stuff like that. It can be small. The smaller the better, really, because you want them to feel success, particularly early on in your sessions. Make contact with their teacher. I've mentioned that a few times now. If you're stuck for ideas of what to do in a session, you've already made contact with their teacher, ask them, they'll know their students, ask them what they most need to work on, and they'll help you guide. They'll help guide you to what to put in your session plan for that student. Alrighty, the admin. So just adding another person in. So a little bit different, some of these things. So the venue is still the same in the library for this year 7 to 9 students. This year we're advertising it as in pairs. So individual students will sign up, but we're marketing this. It is a pair tutoring program at the lower levels. And so each student, I'll get to the prices in a second. So you may only get one student sign up with you, but you may get the pair, you may get both. We're opening it up Monday to Friday, so really important that you are updating your availability throughout the week regularly, anytime it changes. And the sessions are only 3:30 to 4:30 for these people. For the seniors, the venue is still the same, the Undercroft, it's still one-on-one tutoring. There'll be no pairs at year 10 to 12 level, Monday to Friday. And we've kept the 2 time slots, 3:30 to 4:30, and then the hour after that, so 4:35 to 5:35. Any questions on this stuff? Maybe you can type it in the chat if you have any. Right, the prices, so I guess I should have used the different titles, that's a bit confusing, but for year 7 to 9 students, so our tutors who are in year 10 to 12, you guys will be getting paid $20 per hour per student. So if you've only got one, you're only getting $20 an hour, and if you've got the pair, the full pair, you will be making $40 for 1 hour of tutoring, which is a significant increase this year compared to other years. I think it was $10 or $15 an hour when I took this over. Alrighty, and this is one of the big changes this year. So when we asked you guys for feedback at the end of last year, some of the feedback we got was for our old collegians, we've got a really wide spread of qualifications and experience. And so for everyone to be getting this paid the same rate is probably not really fair. So we've put these amounts on here. So if you're a first or second year uni student, you'll be getting $50 an hour. Third or fourth year is $60. And if you have a degree, $70 an hour. So I'll explain how this is going to work in terms of matching people up in a moment. Once you know who you're going to be tutoring, it's both the parents and your responsibility to make contact with each other to arrange the payment via FPOS transfer. That's our preference. If you desperately want to be paid in cash, it can be done, but FPOS is definitely the best. And we've got that digital record of it as well, so that's much better. Also, really want to stress that you should not be conducting any session unless you've been paid for it in advance. That's the rule, and that's what you should be doing, okay? Our priority is everyone involved in this, including you guys, so we don't want you to be taken advantage of, to be doing work that you're not getting paid for.
Ms. Hoinville, can I just jump in there? If any of our tutors experience challenges with that, with our work with families, it's really important that you let us know early. So while there's no interaction between the family and the school in terms of payment, we're really happy to help you have hard conversations like this if that's something that you find yourself in a position where a family's forgotten to pay, for example. So we want you to feel empowered and confident to have those conversations and supported as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for jumping in. We're aiming for the sessions to begin in week 7, so that's the week of Monday, the 7th of March. Because we've had a bit of a revamp, we wanted to give ourselves a bit of a lead in time. Kath, correct me if I'm wrong based on our last conversation. In terms of the payments and arranging them, we're happy for you guys to negotiate blocks of payments. So whether it's they pay for 5 lessons, then you keep a record of those 5, and then they pay for another 5 or 10 or the semester. Is that where we were at?
Yeah, I would suggest to students, if you feel confident negotiating that, I do my first session and ask for payment just for one session to make sure that the family is happy and the student feels like you're a good match for each other. But then after that, I think it's a really sensible idea to approach a family and say, you know, would it be viable? I think we've got to be mindful of the world we're living in. For some families, they're not necessarily feeling confident about their cash flow at the moment. So for some families, they might say, look, I'd prefer to pay week to week because perhaps at the moment cash flow isn't too reliable. That's fine. But again, to say to a family, look, would you like to pay for a block of sessions up front, maybe for a month, 4 sessions or 5 sessions? If that was me as a parent, I'd be saying, thanks so much. That would be a big help for me because I'd forget and I don't want to do that to you. So feel free, if that's something as well you feel confident exploring with a family, it might help everybody feel like they're meeting their obligations.
Perfect. And again, if there's any questions that pop up in your minds as we go along, particularly in regards to financial stuff, please let us know.
Kelly, one more thing, just for those tutors in the space who are degree qualified, if you can send us a copy of your transcript, that would be fantastic, because that just allows us to lock in that rate for you. So, you know, when parents are saying, oh, what's my tutor's qualification, we can really confidently come back and say, oh, your tutor has a Bachelor of Engineering, and that's supportive of you then, and demonstrates that that you really do merit that higher rate.
Perfect. Alrighty, so this is the big change. We are no longer the matchmaker. So I'm going to talk about the senior end first. So essentially, the way it's going to work is that you apply to be tutors, which you guys have. We're then going to put a page together, like a database, a list of tutors. For the old collegians, we're going to publish your details. So we're going to have your phone number, email, a first name. If you're willing to have an image, we might be able to put an image there. And then we'll have your details of what you can tutor in. So your preferred subjects, year levels, experience, and payment rate, whether it's that $50, $60, or $70 mark. And then as a parent of a year 12 student, I would say, okay, I want my son to have tutoring. I'm going to log on, look at the list of tutors. Okay, I can see that Ben Smith is available on a Wednesday. I'm available on a Wednesday. He can tutor in biology. Great. I'm going to contact him, click on the email, click on the phone number, call up, have a conversation with you. And then that's how everyone's going to match up. So after that point, if you get contacted by a parent and you are proceeding with the tutoring match, that's when you let me know that it's going ahead, what day you're tutoring. I can edit your availability. Now that I know you're tutoring someone on a Wednesday at 3:30, that's no longer part of your availability. I can edit that for you. And that's how it's going to work from now on. So in order to get tutoring students, the families will be contacting you. Okay. And so I think I'm hoping that I put on your little application form a section for you to write a little blurb about yourself, the experience you've had. That's essentially what's going to separate you from other people and make you stand out. So the more helpful stuff that you can put in there, whether you've done tutoring before, whether that's be at school or elsewhere, that's really helpful for parents. Now for our junior program, so our tutors, you students who are in year 10, 11 and 12 signing up to be tutors, we can't publish your details somewhere public because you're under our duty of care. So it's going to work a little bit differently, but similar. So we'll still have a page. It's just going to kind of be anonymous. So we'll have tutor A is in year 11, can tutor biology, chemistry, physics, and that's basically it. With your availability, happy to tutor years 8 and 9, available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so as a parent, I would scroll through the list of tutors A, B, C, D, blah, 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 filter by subject, filter by availability, and then say, okay, tutor D looks good. I don't have their details yet. And I say, okay, tutor D looks good. They come back, they fill out an application form, kind of like you guys did, saying, this is my son, Ben Smith. He needs tutoring for biology on a Thursday. I would like to contact tutor D. At that point, then I will pass on your email to this one specific parent, and they will contact you, the same as with the senior program, to organise these sessions. Does anyone have questions, please? It is new. Ideally, I would have had some visuals, but they weren't ready yet. Are there any questions about, about how that's going to work, where it's going to be published, things like that?
I have a question.
Roger, yes.
Yeah. So say that you are like available in like 1 week. Can you tell the tutor like tutee in advance? Perhaps like
Absolutely.
like half a week in advance to just skip the week?
Yeah, so that brings us to the next slide, which is perfect. Good one, Roger. So similar to this second dot one, I guess, what if I'm sick or I've got something on in advance, it's absolutely fine for you to contact the parents and say, hey, I can't do next week. I've got something on, I've got a wedding on. Can we reschedule that session to be another day, or you just skip a session? And it's totally up to you and the families to work out how it's going to work, but that's completely fine. The key is just communication with them, the student, and us as necessary. So I guess I touched on this one. This is my little FAQs page. Obviously, I only could think of 2, even though over the years there's been at least 20. They never come to mind when you need them. So what if I can't tutor anymore? Touched on that at the start. Contact the student and their family, give them 2 weeks notice, continue to tutor them for 2 weeks before you have to stop after you tell them. And then tell me, I'll update the database, I'll take you off so that no other parents will be contacting you. And that's absolutely fine. They will then go back into the pool, they'll go back to the database and try and find someone else. What if I'm sick or I've got something on, just as Roger asked, it's your responsibility to notify the parents and student as early as you can, arrange a makeup session, or if they're okay to just skip a week, obviously your block of 5 lessons will just stretch out to 6 weeks, if that kind of makes sense. I think.
I suppose the most important message, isn't it, Ms. Hoinville, is that communication is
Yes.
everything with this.
Communication.
Just open, frequent communication. And again, if you're having that conversation with a family where you're letting them know that you can't continue due to other commitments going forward, it might be great to CC Ms. Hoinville in there, just so that she's informed on where things are at, and you don't need to send another additional sort of communication to her because she's already aware. So
Exactly
yeah,
right.
open communication is so important. I think I'm speaking to this one, aren't I?
That's right. I did just think of one more thing though before you start that's come up. So if your student is also sick, for example, and they don't show up and they haven't told you, if they haven't provided you with notice and you've rocked up, that counts as a paid session for you. My laptop's about to go flat. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. Kath, over to you while I plug in for some power.
Thanks, Kelly. So I guess I've got the things here that are the compliance related matters. So for those of you that I don't know, hello everybody. I'm Catherine Spurritt, Deputy Principal Learning and Teaching. Some of the things I need to run through here are things that are super important. Things like the fact that when we engage in any work with young people, child safety has to be something that is front of mind for us at all times. And part of that is also about protecting ourselves and making sure that we are working in a way that that reflects the respect that we have for the rights of young people to feel safe when they are anywhere in the community, but particularly at school. For those tutors in the space this afternoon who are over 18, one of the ways in which we ensure that is by asking you to supply us with evidence of your working with children check. That's really important because it is it's a database in essence. The other thing that is important as well, and this is a new requirement this year, is the top dot point there around mandatory reporting. So that is for tutors who are old collegians. It's an online module that teachers and other staff working in a range of education settings undertake, so that we're aware of our responsibilities to protect children and advocate for them from a safety point of view. It's not meant to be daunting by any means. What this is about is ensuring that you are equipped with the information that you need to know how to work with young people and keep them safe, but also how to act protectively of yourself in your work with them. So, it's things like making sure that we are only working with students in the library or in the undercroft space. It's things like making sure that you don't go to the private homes of a student without letting or without first, if that's been posed to you by a parent, for example, have a conversation with Ms. Hoinville or myself before you agree to do those kind of things. So on the screen here for our tutors who are old collegians, there's a QR code which will take you to an Operoo page, which will direct you to the link to do that mandatory reporting, and will also provide you with a space to upload the certificate when it's done. And the other thing you'll be able to upload via that Operoo QR code is a copy of your Working with Children check. As always, we as volunteers or staff members in the Whitefriars College community, and I extend that to students as well, we're bound by a code of conduct which sets out how we will respond or execute our work, and that's of course always reflective of the college's values. Also, if you're arriving on site, this is for our old collegian tutors, please ensure that you do sign in. That's mostly because it's about ensuring that in the event of an emergency, you're able to be accounted for, but also so that we have a record of who is on site at any one time. For our students as well, it's really important that both you and our old collegians are mindful of COVID safe practices. So just being mindful of ensuring that we practice good hand hygiene, ensuring that if the government directives say we're wearing masks, that we do wear masks. I know they're coming off soon, but we're just guided by the current status of those directives in the community. Yeah, keeping a distance, that kind of thing is really important. The other part is about vaccination status, and this one applies to our old collegians. At the moment, you just need to flash your green tick from the Service Victoria app to let us know that you are vaccinated, because again, current directives are that anyone who's inside a building here at school at the moment, whether it's a parent or a staff member, needs to be fully vaccinated. So yes, these are the compliance things. They might feel a little bit boring and dry, but super important because they're about looking after you and really importantly, looking after any of the students with whom you will be working as part of the Elias Tutoring program. Are there any questions at all about those requirements? For current students, just to clarify, because you are peer tutoring, so you are both students of Whitefriars College, it's a little bit simpler for you. So you don't need to worry about these kind of things, but safety is everybody's business, whether or not you are a student or an old collegian or a teacher. Keeping people safe is the most important responsibility that we have in anything that we do here at school. Is there anything else for me, Ms. Hoinville? Or I think that was the end of my.
Not that I can think of, and that's it. That's the last slide, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So yeah, I might just stop screen sharing. If no one else has any questions, then you are free to go. I'll make sure that this presentation is available somewhere and I'll send out the link. We'll probably host it on a private YouTube link, I'm guessing maybe, and we'll send that out to you guys. So as I said, we're hoping to have tutoring sessions beginning week 7 on the 7th. So hopefully you'll be contacted by parents by then. I've had heaps of emails already from teachers and parents who are keen to get their kids into tutoring. So hopefully once we put your details up on a page and direct everyone to it, people will come flooding to you. If you think of any questions, please contact us via email anytime, and we'll see you guys around. Thank you again for taking part. Can't do it without you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.